If you can't qualify on a normal basis, this does allow you to get into the real estate market, which is crazy, as you know, real estate roller coaster. It gets you into the market so that you could appreciate as the market goes up. Hey, it's Lawrence Mak here, real estate broker from Remax Realtron, here to talk about the first-time homebuyer incentive that the government recently introduced for September 2nd, 2019. I'm not really sure when this video is going to go to air, but I'm going to explain everything that I understand at the current time, and maybe they're going to change things later on. In general, I just want to let you know that I don't really like this program. I think it's just vote buying. I don't think it's very good, but I'm going to try to explain as much as I possibly can about the program, and hopefully you can follow along. There is a lot of math. I'm not sure if that's intentional because of, it's very, very complex, and maybe it's just vote buying and, everyone thinks it's amazing, but I'm going to try to explain it as simple as I possibly can. So the particular incentive, the idea is that the government has a share of your house as it appreciates, and they will help you for the down payment for that regard and then take the money out afterwards. So right now, as of September 2nd, what's going to happen is that if you wanted to buy a resale, they will chip in, the government, we'll call them TMHC or the government, will chip in 5% of the total price of the house. This is if it's a resale, or if it's a new condo or a new build, then they can chip in as much as 10%. And that is to share in the equity of your home. In addition, the most that your family household can qualify for is at $120,000 per year. If you make more than that, you do not qualify for this program. And the calculation that they do is they take the mortgage loan amount, and they can't be more than 4 times your annual income. And lastly, this equivalent to about $500,000 to $560,000 in terms of the purchase price of a home. They say there's a lot of benefits to this, but that's roughly what it is in a nutshell. I'm going to go through a few of the things that I don't really like about the program, but I will go through the main thing which I like. And the main thing I like is that if you can't qualify on a normal basis, this does allow you to get into the real estate market, which is crazy, as you know, real estate roller coaster. It gets you into the market so that you could appreciate as the market goes up. That is basically the main reason why it's good, but I do feel that there's a lot of reasons why it's not great. First thing I'm going to go through, which is a lot of the articles will go through the $250 per month payment savings, which is about $3,000 per year. Yay! The $3,000 per year, it's true, you do save that in terms of cash flow, but also keep in mind that whenever you do a mortgage payment, there's both a principal amount and an interest amount. And so it's not as good as it seems. I mean, it does save on the cash flow. So again, if you can't afford a house because of the cash flow, and that's the only reason, maybe this is a good program. But in general, it's not like you don't save $3,000 a month. You save $3,000 a month in cash flow because some of the amount that you're paying is interest and some amount is in principal. And again, a lot of it is math, and I do apologize if it's too complex or if I'm talking too fast, but I'm going to try to explain it as much as possible because I'm very passionate about this particular program and how it may or may not help you. The second thing which you have to look out for is that they share in the equity. So for instance, if the government chips in the 10% of your house and it goes up in value, you have to pay back the 10% at the end of the process. But according to the fine print right now is it's 10% of the gross amount. So what happens is, let's just say the condo appreciates to like $600,000, you have to pay them the full 10% out, $60,000 in this particular case. And then when you do sell it, you actually have to pay all the fees and all the expenses and commissions and any other taxes or whatever else is involved out of your own pocket, and it's not like their share. So they're not really like a full 90%, 10% partner in the whole thing. They just want their 10% gross and not net. So again, I can explain that in other ways. If you have any questions, give me a call, but that is another thing to consider. A third thing is that depending on the calculations, we're talking between maybe $500,000 to $560,000 is what the sale price is going to be. And in the Vancouver, Toronto market, and let's just talk about the Toronto market since that's where I'm based out of, you're not going to be able to afford that much for $560,000. So I don't know who this particular program is targeting. I mean, maybe you could target on the low end, but it sounds great. It's not targeting that many people. I don't know how many people it'll help. Hopefully I'm wrong and helps a lot of people, but it just doesn't feel like it'll help that many people right now. Another thing you have to consider is that the calculation that they do is the mortgage amount plus the loan amount can't be more than 4 times your annual salary. But if you take away this particular equity and you try to apply for yourself, according to calculations that I've been reading online, you're talking about 4.5 to 4.7 times your annual income, and that's what you could qualify for. So really, using this program, you qualify for less of a house. But again, depends on your situation. Another thing that I don't particularly like about this program is that the timing is 1 to 2 months before the federal election. Honestly, I feel it's a little suspect, but you know, take it for what it's worth. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe after the election they're going to cancel this program. I don't really know. In addition, so for new builds, they're actually going to pitch in as much as 10% in terms of the equity, but that money doesn't actually come out of the coffers until it's built. So for instance, if you put in a pre-construction right now and it's built 3 years from now, 3 years from now is when the money's going to come out. So it's an amazing government program where a future administration is going to be paying for it and not the current one. So I just want to go through an example of what these numbers might look like in today's market. Let's pretend that this happened in 2016 and you're able to buy a $400,000 new condo and it was built then for $400,000 and the government chipped in $40,000. If you sold that condo in 2019, on average, we're talking maybe about $600,000 for the condo because the condo appreciated $200,000, which means the government put in $40,000 and they got out $60,000. So the government made $20,000 profit, and then when you sold it, you had to pay the additional expenses on top of that. So good for them. I personally don't think it's amazing in terms of a program, but again, there are some advantages. If you really can't afford a house and this is the only way, maybe that helps. But it just feels like for a large portion of the people, at least in Toronto anyway, this doesn't really apply. And so I don't know how useful this program is. In terms of some of the statistics, you'll also hear that they've increased the RSP contribution limit for first-time home buyers. And so they're using that as part of their statistics on how good this program is. But really, it's a combination of a few different changes that they're going to do that probably increase like the ability for a lot of people to buy. Anyways, I'm sorry again if the math was a little complex or if I talked a little too fast, but there is a lot of meat here to digest and to try to kind of unwind what the media and the government are trying to tell you is good and how it actually helps you at the end of the day. I personally do feel that if you own the whole thing yourself, because of the appreciation of the market, at least if you're talking for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then it makes more sense to own it all yourself instead of trying to share it with somebody else. But again, you know, some people might argue, well, okay, I did that for the past 50 years, but you know, for the 51st year, the real estate market is going to go down. You believe what you like to believe. I'm here just to give you the trends over the past few years. If you have any questions about real estate, you want to bounce ideas off me, talk about this particular program or anything else, give me a call or text me anytime, 416-276-4895. Talk to you soon. Bye.